We will start in 1 minute. We are starting in 1 minute. We will start in 1 minute. We are starting in 1 minute. Hello, good evening, good morning. My name is Hugo Solis, and I'm one of the members that organize this Mexican garden. Um, so first of all, thanks to Ars Electrónica and all the people that has bring together all this fantastic community in order to share what is probably one of the most challenging and adventurous fields, at least for many of us. We are the garden from Mexico. We are a garden who was organized by the Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana, which is a public university. Uh, this is one of the biggest public universities in the country. The university has several campuses, has 5 campuses in different locations around inside Mexico City and around Mexico. This particular unit, the Unidad Lerma, is located about 40 kilometers from Mexico City, and we have a program in digital art and communication. Um, when we saw that Ars Electronica was producing some of the gardens, we decided to apply. We decided to share some of our um, works, the works mainly from our students. Um, we first tried to organize something that wasn't national, but we realized that it could be extremely a huge situation. Therefore, we decide to narrow and invite only students and professors from our community and create a variation of that. Um, Therefore, what we are going to see is the result of an open call for students and for professors of the university. Um, and that's it. So we decided to create a garden. The initial idea was to create a hybrid garden where we could show the materials on the web and also materials on physical locations of the university. The university hasn't been opened yet. We're still working remotely due to the pandemics. Therefore, we focus all the efforts in showing the materials in what we call a virtual garden. What we are going to see is that we're going to have a general tour of the pieces, and some of the artists are going to explain directly the works. So no more further questions or more further words. I think I'm going to start to navigate around the work, the different works. So here we go. This is the main webpage where you arrive when you search in the swap card, and this is the first call. This is in Spanish because we are a Mexican community, and then we generate this call with all the different kind of informations that people require in order to attend, and we did a fully distribution, a fully a call around all the students of the university. And based on that, we end up with the exhibition. This is the interface of the exhibition. From 13 pieces, so we end up selecting 7 of these pieces. One important thing to say is that the idea of this garden is that the garden will be growing and growing as a regular garden. One of the pieces is one of the seeds. It's one of the plants in this garden. And although we have right now only 7 pieces, we are gonna start to have way more pieces in the future. So I'm not gonna start with any particular order. What I'm gonna do is I will navigate through the pieces. So, okay, let's start first with one of the pieces, the pieces of César Chirinos. Okay. César Chirinos Oropesa is a digital culture researcher from the periphery of Mexico City. He's focused in the intersection of philosophy and technology. He has a master in interdisciplinary in the program at the WAMB University, a focus on decolonized art critic, and he also working as an independent musical media and sound artist working with open source software. He has musicalized multimedia performance in collaboration with other Latin American artists such as Yabdia Larreola, Fabiola Larios, and Doren Rios, and he has exhibited in several festivals. And for this particular piece, first of all, I'm going to navigate. Once that you navigate the piece, you can use the arrows and the keyboard in order to navigate through the different pieces. So let's check this piece from César Chirinos. Okay, this is a piece that, as you could see, is a documentation of a performance. Cesar employed a custom fabricated device for measuring the heart rate, and using the heart rate, he uses the heart rate not for not for controlling directly design, but as a manipulator, as a modulator of many other musical parameters of this work.
Okay, good morning.
Okay, good morning.
Thank you very much
Thank you
to
very
invite me
much
here.
to invite me here.
My name is Alejandro
My name is
Casales.
Alejandro Casales.
Uh,
Uh,
so I'm going to
so
talk
I'm going to
about my
talk about
piece for this festival. So in this work of visual music, I use algorithms to relate the image, movement, and sound. Uh, I try to create a visual result that creating only one work, only one piece. Uh, the piece is basically a dance music, electronic music, and the response is colors mixed with drums, mixed with some field recordings and dance piece music. Basically, that's all. It's music for fun, for dance, for enjoy the visual relationships with colors, with movements, and maybe the most important part to me was the interaction between the eyes, because the change in the image it's the minimal part it's between 2 seconds, and the maximum part it's 5 seconds of interaction of visual music, and that's all. And again, thank you very much to invite me here, and have a good day, a good morning.
Thank you very much, Alejandro. Well, one of the more danceable pieces of this exhibition. We continue now with another work um, by one of the professors of the university, Manuel Rocha. He has a very long um, tradition and production in sound art in Mexico. Um, and he created this piece. This piece is a work of 2 hours. It's a 2 hours long piece, and the interesting this material is that it's an appropriation of an appropriation. In well, Manuel Rocha is an artist, composer, researcher, and professor. His creative work comes from different approaches to the sonic phenomena, from pure imagination, programmatic ideas, conceptual art, soundscape, and experimentation with different sound objects. His interdisciplinary work has led him to the use of photography and video, as well as sound sculpture and sound installation. As a complement of his work, he is a pioneer in music in Mexico of sound art and electronic music. Um, and this particular work that he has, it's an appropriation of the Beethoven Symphony Number 9, and audio related with the legacy of the contemporary music and after 250 years of the born of Beethoven. This work was created as an invitation for making an interpretation of the sound work of Leigh Inge, a Norwegian sound artist, who in 2002 he stretched the Beethoven Symphony to become 24 hours using techniques from time stretching. This artist managed to enlongas to make really to stretch from 1 hour to 24 hours the symphony. And therefore, 12 artists were invited now to do an intervention of those 24 hours. Manuel has to work between the fourth hour and the 6th hour. So he uses recordings from the Ninth Symphony and another instrumental works by the author and extracts and references to other pieces, for example, by Ligeti and others. The piece is a two-channel audio piece and can be exhibited as an installation, as a continuous loop, or as well as a concert. However, he described that the experience of listening a 2 hours long piece could be a little bit challenging. So let's hear just a small fragment of this material. Okay, as the author mentioned, this is a 2 hour long work. Therefore, we are not gonna put the entire piece, but you are more than welcome to visit our garden and play this fabulous work. Um, Another work that we are gonna see in the exhibition is the work of a collective of two students from the university that is called Vivencias en Tiempo de COVID, which is translated as the life during the COVID time. This is part of a collective called Dexit Art. It's a collective that emerged in 2020 from the confinements resulting from the COVID pandemic. Their intention was to create a work that compiled the testimonies of different people about the ways experiencing the confinement during that year. The collective is made of María de Lourdes, Viridiana Rodríguez Garcia, and Xochitl Teófilo Garcia. All of them are students of the bachelor degree in Arts and Digital Communication at the UAM University, and they share interest in social issues that are reflected in their individual projects as well. This is a webpage. This is actually a webpage. They did a set of interviews, and they take pictures of the places where they did the interviews. They came up with a collection or collage of audios. So we can go here and we can explore it again. This is just a small teaser of what you're gonna do when you visit the exhibition on your own. You can then, for these are the different people that was interviewed for this work. There are worker people that is working, students, families, and so on. We are gonna select just one by random. Each one has a picture. Okay, if I go here, you have a picture. This is the place, probably the house of this woman. And it depends on where you press in the picture. You're gonna start to hear fragments of the interview.
Sí se me olvida llevar el cubrebocas porque no es como que, digamos, lo que siempre llevas cuando sales, ¿no? O sea, lo normal es como llaves, teléfono, cartera, vámonos. Y ahorita tienes que agregarle llaves, teléfono, cartera, cubrebocas. Fue hasta un tweet que vi de la UNAM que decía que definitivamente se iban a suspender las clases. Pues en ese momento como que pues te quedas como de chin, ¿no? Ahora ¿qué va a pasar? ¿Qué voy a hacer? Al principio no nos pegó, lo pasábamos entre comillas bien, pero me enteré de la pandemia por mis clases de la cuarentena. Como estudio biología, pues creo que no me sentí y el profesor, el biólogo, por que existía un virus. Entonces ellos nos comentaban organizado con pues todo lo que se sabía en ese momento hacer en este contexto. Entonces ahí fue cuando me enteré que ya había una pandemia y que ya había llegado a la escuela y te enfocas en la escuela. Entonces para ver eso y como que tratas de bloquear todo lo demás. Entonces fue eso como lo que me ayudó a no pensar en y si nunca jamás volvemos a volver a salir.
And we can obviously go to other set of another picture with another set of interviews or with another fragments of interviews.
Pues la verdad, no. Acaba de salir de la enfermedad. No guardé cuarentena. Bueno, un poquito. O sea, sí me preocupaba y todo, pero compañeros, como en el lugar donde vivimos, pues no llega ni la señal. Pues no creo que llegara el coronavirus.
Okay, good. Very nice work. One of the goals of the garden was to create a hybrid exhibition. The idea was also to boost the telematic production of artworks, and therefore we could have a physical piece and we could have a streaming of this piece. Again, due to the lack of access to the university at the moment, we decide, or the artists decide, to do documentation of this physical work. So the next work, it's a work by an artist named Beto Olsi. He works with mediums such as video, drawing, physical computing, low-tech, and industrial design. His production aims at making knowledge playful and creating dystopia experiences while exploring concepts such as consciousness and passion around human behavior. So let's check this work now. So as you can see, this is a physical device for making bridges between the analog work and the digital work. And it's also a way for measuring your relation with the time in the physical domain. Another work that I will have to search in the garden. So I'm going to start to navigate in my garden to see in the garden to find the piece. Okay, so using the keyboard and the arrows and the A, W, S, and D of my keyboard, I arrive now to the piece of Amaury Galvez Juarez. By the way, you can always click on the more, and then you will pop up to the piece itself outside of the garden. So Interterror by Amaury Galvez Juarez, it's a poem developed within the framework of the textuality in contingent seminar workshop, who was taught by one of the curators, Mexican curators, Tania Aedo, and organized by the Max Ob Chair in the Art Technology at the Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Mexico. It oscillates between aggressiveness and calm, excessive and sensible, and perhaps between the glamorous history of weapons and the modest history of containers proposed by Ursula K. Le Guin. The original text of the poem is partially absent. It has been transcribed using a mechanism that imperfectly emulates the abstract writing methods proposed by Michel Winkler in forms of language. So let's check now this piece.
A veces, mientras me miro en el espejo o mientras leo las noticias, siento muchas ganas de convertirme al terrorismo. Un día, aburrido y con buena voluntad, publiqué un anuncio en Twitter. Ofrezco mis servicios como mercenario. Decía. Y no sé si me dio miedo, o si me dio asco, o si me provocó un sentimiento de culpa travestido de sentimiento oceánico. Afortunadamente, nadie me contrató. Hoy en día, las manos invisibles no son un blanco fácil. Son más bien el blanco prioritario. Mi secreto a voces favorito es que las manos invisibles sí se ven. Algunos dirán que es hogar. Algunos dirán que es magia. Cuando veo una mano invisible, me queman las ganas de ofrecer mis servicios como terrorista. Ahora que lo pienso, cuando veo una mano invisible, me invade la convicción de convertirme en algo que mutila. Pero las manos invisibles siempre son de alguien. Acabo de recordar que mi conflicto ontológico radica en que soy demasiada tristeza para tan coloridos calcetines. Me gustaría decir que es arte. Me gustaría decir que es mentira. De forma parecida, pienso que nuestro problema consiste en que somos demasiado enojo para tan mala puntería. Me gustaría decir que es culpa nuestra, pero tengo un secreto a voces favorito. Las manos invisibles han llenado el mundo con mercenarios que nunca ofrecieron sus servicios. A veces me corto el cabello yo mismo para sentirme sana. Me corto el cabello yo mismo para no cortarme la mano. Me corto el cabello para no convertirme al terrorismo.
Okay, that was the piece of Amaury Galvan Juarez, which, by the way, is a writer and researcher interested in critical theory, digital aesthetics, and media theory. He studied humanities, art, literature, philosophy, and historiography at the UAM University. Some of the texts have appeared in Digital Palabras, Dolor Local, and Pense Poetic. He has shared talks on about cinema, literature, and digital culture. He has also moderated critical reading circles on leisure times and depression. He has participated in various emerging literature festivals, and he doesn't believe in astrology. That's what he said. Okay, so we can continue with our navigation of this garden. You are obviously invited to navigate by on your own after this small tour. One of these pieces, another from Leonardo Aranda Brito, it's a very strong piece called Monumento a los Desaparecidos. As you well know, Mexico has a really huge amount of people disappear mainly by narco issues in the country. So in this particular work, Leonardo decided to give voice to the people that has disappeared. The interface allows you then to record the name of a person that has disappeared, which make a very strong manifest, right? The Monumento a los Desaparecidos is a project that is reclaiming by the history and justice of the person that had disappeared during the last decades of violence in our country, in Mexico. The goal of this project is to give voice to the persons that has been silenced, therefore fighting against the forgiveness and the abstraction that usually the abstraction where these people is converted into numbers and statistics. In that sense, this is a tool that tries to embody the identity of a person, while the participation of acting and giving a name becomes an act of solidarity who has lost the possibility to say. In that way, you magnify an act of memory against the silence. This project is divided into two sections. The first section is this web platform that is where the people is trying, or where this objective is to collect the 34,041 names of people that has disappeared, and that is the identity. There is a database with the names of these people. Therefore, you go to the webpage and you give a name. And the second part is using these acoustic materials in order to build sonic sculptures that should be in order to amplify the voice. So here we have the interface. All the names in red are names of people, or are people that has a name now, because the people that access the webpage give them a name. And
María Dalia Vélez Nambo, Teresa Gómez Cado,
Leticia Coria Ramírez,
Jaime Moreno Palma,
Pedro Pacheco Duenes,
Laura Elizabeth Delgado Barba,
Gerardo Pérez Ortiz.
I don't know what you feel, but when I start to hear this, I really get shocked about this manifest, right? And obviously you are more than welcome to record a voice for one of these people that hasn't a voice yet. Okay, Leonardo, by the way, is an electronic artist, graduated from the Faculty of Arts de la Universidad Autónoma del Estado de México. He studied the master's in philosophy at the UNAM. He is currently a PhD candidate in media studies at SUNY Buffalo. He's the director of the Media Lab MX, a nonprofit organization focused on research on the links between art, technology, and politics. His work focused mainly on the use of new media and its possible intersections with politics, participation, and citizenship. He has exhibited internationally in group exhibitions and festivals in countries like Mexico, Germany, Russia, Austria, the United States, Spain, Canada, and Brazil. He worked as a researcher in the Multimedia Center. He used to, from 2009 and 2012. In 2015, he was part of the curatorial team of Transitio MX, the International Electronic Art Festival of Mexico. In 2016, he participated in Idea City Detroit, New Museum. In 2017, he formed part of the Interactivos al Media Lab Prado, Madrid, as well as Radical Networks in Brooklyn, New York. Recently, he was awarded as a resident of the CKM Web Residency Program, and he is currently a professor at the Departamento de Artes y Humanidades of our university. So this is the Leonardo piece. Let's move on now to another of the pieces, to another of the works that we have here. The piece of Luz Maria Sanchez. Luz Maria Sanchez, let's dig around. Let's search for it. Here we go. Here we go. And here we are. Okay. Luz Maria Sanchez. This work. It's called Closed Circuit. Closed Circuit is a responsive generative multimedia installation in which physical space is explored through immersive voice and video patterns. It is focused on elements drawn from the construction of physical spaces through verbal elements and geometrical sound structures through immersive sound. Voice patterns are reproduced in geometrical shapes conforming the dense, almost solid sound walls. Texts are uttered in a tone empty of emotion, presenting in extreme detail wounded, lifeless bodies, rather that strip away of its meaning. Void voice, empty voice, reminding of the inacceptable of death, inescapability of death. Word's origin is a forsenic document that ties the artwork to Samuel Beckett's post-apocalyptical universe.
Corpse of the male sex in a good general state of nutrition with marked cadaveric stiffness with lightness in the parts of the body decline. He presented 7 wounds apparently caused by a firearm projectile. The first with 2 holes, the first apparently entry located on the front face of the right hemithorax and the level of the 6 intercostal space and 7 centimeters outside the interior midline, circular 8 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges with fish ring. The second apparently exit located on the back of the left hemothorax at the level of the upper spine of the shoulder blade, circular 10 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges. The second with 2 holes, the first apparently of entry located on the anterior face of the right hemithorax at the level of the 10th intercostal space and on the clavicular midline, circular 8 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges with fish ring. The second apparently out located on the anterior wall of the abdomen and the level of the left hypochondrium and 5 centimeters outside the anterior midline of a circular shape, 10 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges. The third with a single hole located at the level of the ring abdominal flank, circular in shape, 8 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges with fish ring. The fourth with 2 holes, the first apparently of entry located immediately above on the anterior superior iliac crest of the right side, circular 8 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges with fish ring. The second apparently exit located at the level of the iliac fossa of the left side, circular 10 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges. The fifth wound with 2 holes, the first apparently of entry located on the lateral face of the right hemithorax at the level of the 10th intercostal space and on the circular arm line, 8 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges with fish ring. The second apparently exit located on the back of the right hemithorax at the level of the 10th intercostal space, circular and 10 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges wood in line. The sixth with 2 holes, the first apparently of entry located on the front inner face, lower third of the left thigh, circular 8 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges with fish ring. The second apparently of exit located on the posterior external face, upper third of the thigh of the same side of circular format of 10 millimeters in diameter and inverted edges wood lined. The seventh wound with a single hole located on the back upper third of the right forearm is circular 8 mm in diameter inverted edges with E-ring, which caused an exposed fracture of the humerus in the middle third being lodged in the fracture site, where it is removed and attached to be remitted. Open the cavities were found: skull, the mass edematous and congested brain, thorax and abdomen. The path followed by the projectile that produced the wound described first went from front to back, from right to left, and from bottom to top. On its way, it penetrated the right pleural cavity, where he injured the middle lobe of the lung, went to the left pleural cavity, where it injured the upper lobe of the lung, to exit through the hole already described. The lungs attached to the rib cage to the cut with signs of pneumonia in red hepatization phase. The pericardium and myocardium without alterations. In both pleural cavities there were about 500 cc of black blood. The trajectory that followed the projectile that produced the wound described in the second place was slightly from front to back, from top to bottom, and from right to left. On its way, it penetrated the abdominal cavity, where it injured the spleen, to exit through the hole already described. The trajectory that followed the projectile that produced the wound described in the third place went from front to back, from right to left, and slightly from top to bottom. On its way, it penetrated the abdominal cavity, where it injured the liver, immediately injured the mesentery, the small intestine, and the level of the jejunum, fracturing the fourth lumbar vertebra, and was lodged in the medullary canal, where it is removed and attached remitted. The trajectory that followed the projectile that produced the wound described in fourth place was slightly from front to back, from top to bottom, and from right to left. On its way, it injured the ascending colon and the mesentery, living through the hole already described. In the abdominal cavity, there were about 1,500 cc of black blood. The kidneys decapsulated easily when cut, slightly congested. The gas dilated stomach. The dosage of ethyl alcohol in blood gave results negatives. From the exposed, we deduct that the death of was due to the alterations caused in the organs interested in the projectiles that produced the wounds described in first, second, third, and fourth places, and that it was verified within 60 days since he was injured.
Okay, this material is a 20 minutes long description or documentation or representation of the piece. Therefore, you are all more than welcome to visit the piece. So for now, these are these 8 trees that we have in our garden. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And with that, we have traverse all the different pieces. As you can see, we have like a huge range of another diversity of materials. What we like of this garden is that there is a dialogue between students with the pieces that are growing, and also materials that has been polished for a long time. We are really proud of this exhibition. We are really excited of being part of this festival as the university. So as you come on here, you will start to see more pieces over the time, which seeds that will be growing and growing. One more time, thank you very much for your time. You are more than welcome to again navigate on your own these particular pieces, discover the different materials, explore the documentation of each one of these pieces. One important thing also to mention is that this work was this exhibition was also part of a contest, so there are some prizes to mention. It's important to mention that Ethos Zen by Manuel Rocha has an honorific mention, that Vivencias en Tiempo de COVID has also an honorific mention, Opaco by Heriberto Simón has also an honorific mention, and all the pieces of Videíto by Alejandro Casales Navarrete and Closed Circuit by Luz Maria Sanchez, they share the prize that the university decide to offer in order to participate in this exhibition. Well, you are more than welcome again to visit this exhibition. I will leave you now with the rest of the materials and the rest of events that are happening in the festival. Thank you very much for being part of this tour and this guided visit. Well, in the name of the university, we want to thank all the people related in the festival. We also want to thank Carolina Belen, who helped in the coordination of this event, to all the people that participate in the festival, and all the people, all the staff and of the university, and obviously of the festival. Thank you very much, and have a good day.